Well lads, what's the crack and welcome back to today's new video and today to kickstart the Europa League campaign. And obviously we've just done my league phase predictions, which by the way, if you haven't yet watched, make sure you do watch it after this video. But today lads, I'll be predicting the matches from Matchweek 1 of the Europa League for the 2025-26 campaign, and a couple of very good interesting matches to kickstart the campaign this year. So this definitely is a good match week to set the tone for what could be a very good campaign overall. And as I say, of course, some very tasty fixtures could make it a very tasty round one overall as well. So before we do jump into this video, make sure you are subscribed if you're enjoying all my content, and if you haven't yet done so, like the video as well to really give me as much support as possible. Click the bell so you never miss out when we do this uploads. Also remember to share this video to as many people as possible, really push this video out there. And so then lads, let's get into today's predictions for Europa League Match Week 1. And so the first Europa League prediction of the season takes us to Denmark as FC Midtjylland are hosting Sturm Graz here. Interesting game, definitely. Two sides who, in my opinion, are pretty much equal to each other. Of course, two decent squads, two sides who haven't looked too bad so far this year either. However, still aren't 100%. So this game really should be a very interesting one. Midtjylland have the home advantage. That does give them a slight edge in my opinion here, but Sturm Graz are a very good side, full of experience. And so in my opinion, lads, it's going to be a very good game of football. However, I cannot separate the two sides here, so I'm going to go down the middle here in this one for another 2-2 draw to kickstart the Europa League season. Next then we go to Greece as PAOK are going to be hosting Maccabi Tel-Aviv here. PAOK are a decent side, of course, and no predict them to finish 35th in the Europa League and Maccabi Tel-Aviv to finish 36th here. However, I do believe PAOK will probably end up finishing much higher than 35th here, and I do believe they'll start off their campaign here with a pretty comfortable victory, especially in home turf. They've got a couple very good forwards in there, and so I'm going to say the score goals are fun here, and we'll thump Maccabi Tel-Aviv 4-0 in Greece. Next then we go to Portugal as Braga are hosting the Dutch giants Feyenoord here in this one. Another interesting game, of course. Braga on home turf here definitely could make this one a very interesting one. However, Feyenoord still are definitely the strongest side here. They've got a very good midfield, players such as Sam Steins, and we're really looking forward to seeing him in action this year. Over the past number of years, the numbers he's been putting up in the Eredivisie especially have been absolutely insane, and so he looks like he definitely could be the next big thing on the European stage. And as well as that, then Quinton Timber is a very good talent alongside him in midfield. So overall, this Feyenoord side is brimming with quality, brimming with potential, brimming with talent as well. And in my opinion, they definitely still are better than this Braga team at the minute as well. So in my opinion here, Feyenoord will be the better side and will get a comfortable 2-0 victory away from home in Portugal. Next then we go to Croatia as Dinamo Zagreb are going to be hosting Fenerbahçe here in this one. Once again, a very good game on paper here. Of course, Dinamo Zagreb will be the side who definitely will be hoping to win this one here, especially on home turf. However, Fenerbahçe definitely have the best side on paper. They replaced Jose Mourinho with Domenico Tedesco, who in my opinion definitely is a very good coach. And as well as that then, of course, the signings they've made this summer have been looking very good, such as Ederson coming in from Man City as a new goalkeeper. What a signing that's going to be for sure. As well as that then Otter Cogley from Benfica is a fantastic signing there, a fantastic addition to the forward line. Marco Asensio came in from PSG, Neno Dorgeles from Salzburg, the young Brazilian winger, also plenty of talent in his locker as well. All those players in with the likes of, Anderson Talisca, for example, and Fred, these sort of players, overall are having pretty good still for the Turkish side in their time in Fenerbahçe. So this Fenerbahçe side, lads, definitely should be one of the best in the Europa League, judging by their team on paper. However, even though they've got the new manager, even though they've got all these new players in, they still have the same old problems. They're still dropping points here and there. They've drawn their last two games in the Turkish league against mid-table sides. And so in my opinion, once again here, coming into this game, Fenerbahçe just aren't in good form. And once again, I'm going to say they will fail to live up to the hype and expectation that will be put onto them here in this one. So because of that then, I'm going to say they struggle a lot here in this one. Dinamo Zagreb are still a decent side. They're on home turf here in this one as well. I'm going to say Dinamo Zagreb will win this one narrowly, 1-0 on home turf. They'll start off the Europa League campaign with a win, as yet again Fenerbahçe, even under new management with Tedesco this time, will still fail to live up to the hype. Next then we go to Serbia for Razgrad Belgrade hosting Celtic here in this one. This game probably will be one I'll be watching, as of course with no Man United in Europe this year, I will definitely be supporting Celtic in Europe this year. Obviously lost over the weekend there for Celtic. It was a fantastic 4-0 victory away against sort of Glasgow rivals, I guess you could say, but not really. Part of Thistle there in the Scottish League Cup, sending them through the semi-finals, of course. So getting a couple of goals there, getting good form here. Players such as Sebastian Tunakli, for example, are looking like they're fantastic footballers. So this Celtic side, even though the board has let them down massively, even though the board has let the players, Brandon Rodgers, the coaching staff, the fans, etc., all down, I still do believe the Celtic side has lots of quality, and I still do believe they definitely can still play decent enough in the Europa League. However, Red Star Belgrade are a very good side, and their qualities only continue to improve with the addition of Marko Arnautovic. I do believe is going to be an absolute goal machine for the Serbians this year. I can see this game being goals galore. I think it's going to be a 7-goal thriller here in Belgrade. It's going to be a fantastic game of football, but ultimately I'm going to say Celtic will defend very poorly here, and ultimately Red Star Belgrade will be far too clinical here in this one. So in my opinion, actually, Celtic are going to lose this one 4-3 away from home. It's going to be a fantastic game of football, but Celtic ultimately in the end of the day will not be good enough. Red Star will show as the way they definitely are one of the most underrated sides in the Europa League this year. They'll get 3 points here in this one, but it's going to be a losing start for Brandon Rodgers Celtic away from home. Next time we go to Germany for Freiburg against Basel. Two interesting sides once again here. Freiburg with a couple of good players in there, especially in the forward line. Same going to be said for Basel as well. Two sides who definitely are sort of, on par. Freiburg have done pretty well over the past 2 games, 2 wins on the trot here coming into this one in decent form. Same sort of can be said for Basel as well. So it's hard to know what's going to happen here in this one. I do believe both sides are pretty even, and so can I see there being a winner here in this one? To be honest, lads, I can't. So I'm going to go down the middle here in this one and say it finishes a 1-1 draw between Freiburg and Basel here in Germany. Next time we go to Sweden as Malmö are hosting Ludogorets Razgrad from Bulgaria here. Another interesting game. Malmö, in my opinion, are definitely a decent side, and once again are one of the most underrated sides in the Europa League this year. They played some great football last year. I'm going to say they played some great football again this year, and I'm going to say they got a couple of massive victories here and there in the Europa League as well. Ludogorets still, in my opinion, definitely one of the weakest sides in the entire tournament here, and although maybe this could be seen as slightly one of their more favourable fixtures, I do believe Malmö away from home as well is too tricky for this Ludogorets side, and so I'm going to say Malmö will start off their campaign with 3 points on a comfortable 2-0 victory on home turf against Ludogorets. Next time we head to France as OGC Nice are hosting AS Roma here. The Italian Giants are travelling to the south of France here, and this definitely could make to be a very interesting game. Nice at the minute have been an absolutely terrible form. In their last game, I do believe it was a 4-1 defeat away against Stade Brestois in Ligue 1. So coming into this game, Nice are not in good form whatsoever, and after last year getting knocked out of the league phase in the Europa League, this season it definitely could be the same outcome, and that is not good whatsoever for the French side. Roma, on the other hand, of course, would get a 1-0 victory against Lazio in the big Rome derby there at the Stadio Olimpico. So coming into this game, Roma are in good form. Gasperini is really rebuilding the side up well. They've got a couple of very good players in there, and so in my opinion, with players such as Evan Ferguson, hopefully he scores here in this one alongside Leisa, Matthias Sula, for example, and that forward line. Can I see Roma winning this one? Yes, and I'm going to say they're doing an absolute style here. They will take advantage of Nice being very poor, and will get an extremely comfortable 3-0 victory away from home. A perfect start for Roma's campaign in the Europa League, but an awful start and the worst possible start for Nice's. And we finish off the matches then on Wednesday night in the south of Spain. It is a big one here for sure, as Real Betis are hosting Nottingham Forest here. Nottingham Forest with the return to Europe, and they kick things off here in Spain, obviously, against Real Betis, who definitely can be seen as one of the more stronger sides in the entire competition. But this one definitely should be a real cracker in my opinion. Both sides desperate to get off the winning ways here in the Europa League, especially Nottingham Forest. You're desperate to just get a win from anywhere, of course, after losing their last 3 games or being winless in the last 3 games, the first 3 under Ange Postecoglou. But as I have reiterated time and time again, I do believe Forest will come good under Ange Postecoglou because their squad is just so good. And here in this one, I do believe they will play some good football. However, Real Betis and home turf especially too, and with players such as Anthony and Cedric Bakambu playing good football as well, I'm going to say this one is going to be anything but a stroll in the park for the away side here. It is going to be definitely a tough welcome back to Europe for Nottingham Forest. However, they hold their own here in this one, and I do believe a last minute equaliser could save them a crucial point here in this one. I'm going to go down the middle here in this one in Seville for an entertaining 2-2 draw between Real Betis and Nottingham Forest here. 2 good sides, a great game of football it will be. However, neither side will get the victory, and a point apiece will be the fair result come the final whistle. Now we go to Thursday night, and starting off in the Netherlands, we've got Go Ahead Eagles back in Europe, possibly for the first time in their club's history. I'm not too sure if they've ever played in Europe before, but anyway, they're starting off the Europa League campaign with a home match against FCSB FCSB or Steaua Bucharest from Romania here. Now, another interesting game, of course. Go Ahead Eagles have won their past 2 games in the Eredivisie, so are coming into this game in better form. Steaua Bucharest haven't had the best of starts this year, but still, judging by from what I've seen last year in the Europa League from the Romanian outfit, I do still believe they're a very good side, and I do believe once again here they will be good. I believe the European experience will shine through here in this one, and even though Go Ahead Eagles maybe are in slightly better form, I'm going to say Bucharest will come away with a smash and grab 1-0 victory away from home here. It'll be a fantastic 3 points for the Romanians, but it's going to be a tough pill to swallow for Go Ahead Eagles. Next game then, we go to France as Lille are hosting the Norwegian side SK Brann here. Massive occasion for the away side, of course. And I mean, they're a side who, as of recently in their domestic league, they've been scoring plenty of goals, but also sort of conceding a lot of goals as well. But ultimately, it's working for them because they're in some fantastic form at the minute and they haven't lost for their last 5 games at least anyway. However, I do believe this could mean they come into this game with a wee bit of naivety, and I do believe they won't be parking the bus here, and that definitely could work to Lille's benefit, of course, because Lille, of course, they're a side who love scoring goals with players such as Haraldsson in attacking midfield. Even Olivier Giroud up top could score goals as well. I mean, they won one of their games 7-1 this year against Lorient in Ligue 1 already, so they definitely are another side who can score loads of goals here. I'm going to say this game is going to be very high scoring once again, but it's going to be very one-sided towards Lille. I think Brann won't hold back. They'll bring the game to Lille here. They'll manage to get a goal or 2 for themselves, fair enough. However, Lille, I'm going to say, will destroy the Norwegian side 6-2 in this one. It's going to be an entertaining game, but Lille will destroy them. Brann will get 1 or 2 goals, but ultimately their defence will not be good enough, and Lille will take full advantage of that being the case. And now next we go to Birmingham, the Villa Park, as Aston Villa are back in Europe for the 3rd season in a row, and this year they kick things off with a home game against the Italian side Bologna. A repeat from last year's Champions League phase. I finished a 0-0 draw there last year, and I'll tell you what, lads, it's not far off being the same case this year because Aston Villa still are in very poor form. Yes, they got a goal finally in the Premier League with a Matty Cash screamer, helped by Robin Roofs there. However, they still managed to win the game there. Wilson Isidore saved the point for the Black Cats there over the weekend. So Aston Villa's woes continue, and I tell you what, can I see them picking it up so quickly here in this one? No, because Bologna are a decent enough side. This isn't one of Villa's easier games in my opinion, even though they should be winning this one because they're in home turf. I do believe Bologna will still hold their own here in this one. They defend very well. I'm going to say they will cause Villa issues. However, Villa will still manage to get something from this one here. So I'm going to go down the middle here for another draw between the 2 sides. But this year I'm going to say it finishes 1-1 between the 2 sides. 2 sides who won't really deserve to win this one. It's going to be a fair draw, but Villa, their woes will once again continue here as they will begin their Europa League campaign with no victory. And now we head back to the Netherlands. This time it's FC Utrecht back in Europe, and they're hosting Lyon to kickstart their Europa League campaign. Lyon, of course, a decent enough side, and watch out for a player, Malik Fofana on the wings. I do believe he definitely could be a danger and a game changer here in this one. Away from home, Utrecht, I do believe, will defend pretty well, and I'm actually going to say they make Lyon struggle quite a lot here in this one. However, I do believe Lyon will still have enough in the tank to win this one. Utrecht will do all they can to manage to get at least a draw. However, that is not going to happen. I'm going to say Lyon will get a smash and grab 2-1 victory to take 3 points on a away day against Utrecht in the Netherlands. And now we go to Hungary next as Ferencváros are hosting Victoria Pilsen. 2 very underrated sides in the Europa League in my opinion. We've seen that from last year. Both sides were very good at different stages of the campaign, and so I do believe this game on skin is very, very hard to call. Victoria Pilsen, yes, have firepower, but so do Ferencváros. Ferencváros have Barnabas Varga, who's a very good forward, and there meanwhile Victoria Pilsen have Matej Vydra, who's in very good form at the minute too. So this game definitely could be high scoring, but it's very hard to see who's going to win this one here. Ferencváros maybe are slight favourites because they're at home. However, I'm going to say that it's not going to be the case here, so I'm going to go down the middle here for yet another draw, for an entertaining 2-2 draw between Ferencváros and Victoria Pilsen. And now we go back to Scotland, to Glasgow now, as Rangers are going to be kickstarting their Europa League campaign with a home game against the Belgian side Genk now. A Belgian side that definitely will give Rangers fans PTSD from the Champions League qualifiers when Club Brugge absolutely annihilated them across 2 legs. However, they'll be hoping to right over the wrongs, and Russell Martin especially will be hoping to finally win back some Rangers fan support after they have been really protesting against them. Even when they were defeating Hibs 2-0 in the Scottish Cup at home, they were still protesting against the manager. So if Russell Martin is to win the faith of the Rangers fans, this game is definitely the game to start with, of course. And I do believe, even though they're in terrible form at the minute, this game still is very much winnable. They've got a couple of very good players in there, and I'm looking at Razgrad, for example, in the attacking midfield. I do believe he definitely could really spring into action this year and be a star player in this Rangers side. I'm going to say, though, Genk will really make it hard. They'll score a couple of goals. However, Rangers on home turf with a big atmosphere as well, I'm going to say they will just narrowly get a massive 3-2 victory here. A game which definitely could pick up the rest of their season. I'm going to say it's going to be a massive victory, as even though Rangers are currently struggling domestically, they'll once again prove that even in Purley, when playing Purley in Scotland, they're still always capable of winning games and getting 3 points in Europe, and this week is going to be the exact same case. Next time we go to Austria, and this game actually looks very enticing in my opinion, as Red Bull Salzburg are hosting FC Porto here. Two very exciting sides in my opinion. Salzburg maybe aren't looking as good as they have been in previous years. However, I do believe still there's a couple of good players in there, and I do believe they still can score a few goals. It's going to be tricky against Porto, who do have a decent defence topped up by one of the best goalkeepers probably in the world at the minute, and Diogo Costa, the Portugal #1. I still do believe though Salzburg will manage to get 1 or 2 goals in past Porto. However, Porto, with the firepower of the likes of Samu, one of the best striker in the competition in my opinion, alongside players such as Borja Sainz in the forward line, I'm going to say their firepower is going to be too much here. It's going to be a 6-goal thriller here in Austria, but Porto will prove to be far too strong, and will get a massive 4-2 victory away from home against Salzburg. The penultimate game then takes us back to Germany, and this time is VfB Stuttgart, who are going to be hosting from the north of Spain Celta Vigo here in this one. Should be another interesting game, of course. Celta Vigo, their past 5 games in all competitions, I think all of it have come in La Liga, but it could be all competitions, have all finished 1-1. And so surely this game doesn't finish 1-1, because I mean Stuttgart still are a decent enough side, but then again, you know, I definitely could see Celta Vigo away from home defending well and holding Stuttgart to a draw. So surely it can't go on like this, can it?
It can.
Yes, I'm going to say it's going to be a 1-1 draw between Stuttgart and Celta Vigo. Two sides to be pretty even on the day. I'm going to say then this will be shared a point apiece between the German side and the Spanish side here. Finish off today's Europa League prediction video with Young Boys hosting Panathinaikos in Switzerland. Definitely should be an interesting game. Panathinaikos still have got a very good squad on paper in my opinion. However, similarly to Fenerbahçe, I do believe they're constantly getting overhyped and fail to live up to the expectation year after year. I do believe still they can get something from this one. However, away from home against Young Boys, I think they will struggle a bit here in this one. And so I'm going to say they will be held to a draw here. An entertaining 2-2 draw between Young Boys and Panathinaikos to finish off Europa League Matchweek 1. Anyway, lads, we're going to end today's Europa League Matchweek 1 predictions. I hope you have enjoyed it, of course. What do you think about my predictions for the Europa League? What would you change? Let me know in the comments below. As always, lads, remember to like the video, subscribe if you're new, click the bell, and share this video to as many people as possible. And so then, lads, see you all in the next one here on KDFG.